Òṣòdì gbogbo yín mo kí lálárí tẹ́nìkan. Òkèkò gbogbo yín mo kí lálárí tẹ́nìkan. Ọmọjọ́lá gbogbo yín mo kí lálárí tẹ́nìkan. Ọbalẹ̀ndé gbogbo yín mo kí títí lé lábàjì o. Yèsì òkú sọ́kọ̀ ò bàbá lérè kó. Èkó àkété aró mi sálẹ̀ pẹ̀lẹ́pẹ̀. Èkó àkété aró mi sálẹ̀ pẹ̀lẹ́pẹ̀. Èkó àkété aró mi sálẹ̀ pẹ̀lẹ́pẹ̀.
Good morning. His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Lagos State, Ambassador Andrian, the Honorable Senator present here today, the Honorable Commissioner, the Consul General of the Federal Republic of Nigeria here in Atlanta, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. My name is TJ Abbas. Of course, I'll be the master of ceremony for this session. My job is just to introduce the moderator, and that is quite a very brief assignment. Let me welcome you here on behalf of the President and members of the Coal Club International, on behalf of the Consular General Office of the Federal Republic of Nigeria here in Atlanta, and of course, on behalf of the good people of Lagos State, under the dynamic leadership, of course, of His Excellency Governor Ahmed Bola Tinubu, who is with us here this morning. You're welcome to Atlanta, and you're welcome to the Economic Forum. The significance of the Economic Forum, ladies and gentlemen, of course, is to showcase Lagos State as the tiniest, but of course, the heartbeat of Nigerian economy, the largest commercial center in the entire world, just to be a little bit modest. And of course, a very safe place for investors to come in and participate in the economic development of our state. And I'm sure this is going to be quite a very informative session today. And I do sincerely hope that at the end of this session, everything that is being discussed here will translate into economic growth and economic development for our state that will be of mutual benefit to both Lagos State and of course the city of Atlanta. So one more time, let me welcome you here. I would like to call on the moderator of this session, and that is the Consul General of the Federal Republic of Nigeria in Atlanta, who has worked so tirelessly in the past few months in conjunction with members of the Coal Club International to put this wonderful program together. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Honorable Joe Keshi, the Consul General of the Federal Republic of Nigeria in Atlanta.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Let me join Abbas in saying how happy we are the Consulate today to co-host this investment seminar. Time is of the essence, so I'm going to skip the major line I have thought I would start with. But I'll show you something I saw in the New York Times. Let me just see if you all can recognize where this is. Does anybody know where this is? This is not Lagos, this is New York. Thing here, third world electric grid, describing the New York electric grid. Your Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, again, welcome to this event. And I'm just going to go quickly and recognize the very distinguished guests we have here gathered this morning. Before I invite the president of Eco Club to give his own welcome address, but I'm going to skip some people for the end for obvious reasons because I'll be doing the introduction again. But let me start with members of the governor's delegates. And I'm going to start with the Commissioner for Budget, Mr. Yemi Cardoso. Honorable Commissioner for the Governor, Economic Planning and Budget. The Governor is also here with his Honorable Commissioner for Information and Strategy, Honorable Commissioner Dele Alake. And also we have, I think, the most important gentleman here today, for obvious reasons, for those of you who are from Lagos and who know Nigeria very well, Dr. Tunji Bello, the Honorable Commissioner for Environment. If you've taken notice of the three gentlemen I have introduced, you probably notice that they are very young men. And this says a lot for the Governor of Lagos State, that he's put together a team of young, dynamic, well-educated, sharp people that really can lead Lagos and indeed Nigeria in the near future. But we need the old ones to guide us. And we have with us here one of very experienced parliamentarians, the Deputy Speaker of the Lagos State House of Assembly, Mr. Alhaji Farouk Oshodi. Yes, there is also the very youthful, I believe, Deputy Whip of the Lagos State House, Fumi Pedrosho. I do also recognize that there are very many dignitaries here, but let me just recognize them in group. We have here members of the Nigerian American Chamber of Commerce. If you are here from that group, please could everybody stand up to be recognized. We also have a very powerful team from the CAB here. Please, everybody from the CAB office, can you please also stand up to be recognized? Thank you very much. Let me now pass this opportunity to introduce my wife. This is not your question. Now we go to business, and as we go along, I'll also be introducing some people. But first, I want to welcome Alhaji Olushesi Dauda, the president of Eco Club. And I'm going to plead with the distinguished president. I fear sometimes for other presidents to make their speeches very short, but I'm going to ask this president to please be as brief as possible.
Good morning. Excellency, the Governor of the State, Asiwaju Ahmed Bola Tinubu. Your Excellency, the Consul General, Honorable Joe Keshi, itself to various types of profitable ventures, ranging from tourism, manufacturing, distribution of services. Lagos State economy is consumer-driven and considering the total economic activities of the city of Lagos year in, year out. Lagos is the true economic capital of West African sub-region. Lagos, the intellectual human capital amongst the many resources with which we are endowed. With the greatest number and composition of university personnel of any major city in all of Africa, Lagos is the best place to invest and realize a positive return on investment faster. As a matter of fact, 39% of all experienced industrial workers in Nigeria live in Lagos. Apart from being blessed with known and yet to be tapped abundant human and natural resources, Lagos State also has international sea and airports, complemented with good road networks that have witnessed tremendous improvement and maintenance in the last couple of years through the untiring and commendable efforts of our governor, Asuwaju Ahmed Bola Tinubu. The mismanagement of the Nigerian economy over the several years led to massive brain drain that the country is slowly but steadily recovering from. To hasten the recovery, some Lagosians and my humble self are already working on a database consisting of names of professionals and academicians from Lagos on a broader scale from Nigeria. We are willing to partner with both the states and federal governments to provide information on Lagosians and all Nigerians in specific professional and academic callings. With the advent of new democracy and good governance in Nigeria, the path towards prosperity of all Lagosians, Nigerians, as well as both foreign and local investors, is being vigorously and relentlessly pursued by the government. In other words, for the first time in the history of Lagos, her vast resources and economic potentials are being opened for rapid development. If you want to invest and make good returns anywhere in the world, there is no better place now than Lagos, the city where the people are as warm as the climate. We are very proud of the posture that exists in our states and the richness it brings as exemplified by the multitude of cultures that call Lagos State home. The fact is, all roads in Africa, especially economic and financial, lead to Lagos, Nigeria. I suggest that you visit Lagos first as a tourist, especially if you look at tourism as an engine for economic growth, as I do believe. It is a great privilege to recognize the extraordinary efforts of everyone that has taken part in the planning and advancement of Atlanta 2003 through our exciting conference theme, enhancing community development. I urge corporate America and individual entrepreneurs to use this opportunity to create jobs and develop quality alliance between Lagos and the US. I encourage you all to focus on the key strategies and mechanisms to engage one another and ultimately forge commercial partnerships for our common benefit. I am confident that the best of Lagos is ahead of us. I wish you a productive and successful economic session. Long live Lagos and Lagosians. Long live Lagos and the inhabitants. God bless America and Americans. God bless Nigeria and its citizens. Blessings.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I need to also recognize these two very important people. One is Mr. John Antonio. Mr. John Antonio is the General Manager of the Lagos State Development and Property Corporation. If you want to do any business regarding housing in Lagos, this is the man you need to talk to, and he's here with us today. And also, when you talk of land in Lagos, There is Mr. Genga Ashafa. Could you please get up to the head of my... Genga Ashafa is the Executive Secretary, Land Use Bureau. So if you'll be looking for land for Lagos all these days, you have somebody to talk to here. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to introduce a very dynamic lady. She looks very motherly and indeed she's a mother. She's very gentle, but at some time you are advised not to get on the wrong side of the gentle people. At some time in our history, one of the ways in which the military tried to destroy the society was to seize all possible institutions that would oppose them. And in the mid-90s, they chose the wrong institution. Not only was it the wrong institution, they also did it at a time in which the leadership was headed by a different character. And it's my pleasure today, ladies and gentlemen, to welcome to our midst Chief Mrs. Cecilia Kuye, who was at one time the president of the Nigerian Bar Association. And at the time the military thought they could seize the Bar Association, she refused to yield. With no guns, with no armored cars, she made it clear that the Bar Association would not be used. She stood her ground, and I think anytime we write the history of those who fought against military opposition in Nigeria, her own name will be printed in gold as well. Madam Kuye, my pleasure as always to welcome you to Atlanta, and may I invite you to the podium.
Your Excellency, Governor of Lagos State, Asiwaju Bola Tinubu, Honorable Commissioners, Deputy Speaker, Ambassador Aluyon, the Honorable Consul General, eminent ladies and gentlemen. I've been told I have 5 minutes. I don't know how I can discuss doing business in Nigeria and the stock exchange in 5 minutes, but I shall try. Now, Nigeria has greatly improved economically. And during the military regime, Nigeria's economy was in the doldrums. But now, the government has put in place measures that will see us progress. The industrialization and globalization of the Nigerian economy requires increased foreign investment and technology transfer as an indispensable catalyst for a broad-based buoyant economy anchored on sustainable economic growth and development. In this regard, the Nigerian government is making a lot of effort to encourage private foreign investment inflow into the Nigerian economy. Specifically, new private investments are required in the oil and gas sector, agriculture, power and energy, mining and telecommunications, which were also the highlights at the Leon H. Sullivan Summit recently held in Abuja. An enabling and conducive environment, together with attractive economic incentives, are being provided to stimulate massive inflow. And you will find that the Nigerian economy is the most vibrant in sub-Saharan Africa, and the country has the largest pool of skilled manpower in the continent. Now, I shall just give you the thrust of President Obasanjo's economic blueprint titled Nigerian Economic Policy 1999 to 2003, and it is based on the following guiding principles. The economy exists for and belongs to the people, and at all times the general well-being of all people shall be the overriding objective of the government and the proper measure of performance. Given the state of the economy, which is equivalent to national emergency, economic management shall involve total commitment of the leadership at all tiers of government and the mobilization of the populace without creating a bloated government. Government shall be lean, efficient, honest, transparent, cooperative and friendly, operate on the basis of extensive devolution of power, and shall function mainly as a facilitator. The government's primary role shall be to ensure, in cooperation with the private sector, the urgent creation of adequate and efficient infrastructure, particularly of energy, telecommunications, water, and financial services, to bring about a positive and internationally competitive environment for economic activities. Private enterprise, private effort, and non-governmental action shall play the major role in achieving the goals of the derived targets of the government. Everything shall be done to foster a strong work ethics to drive productivity. What type of economy does Nigeria have? Our economy is market-oriented, private sector-led, highly competitive, internally and globally, particularly in areas of comparative advantage. It is technology-driven, broad-based, humane, open, and internationally significant. And now I will tell you a little bit about the investment incentives in Nigeria. We have the tax-holding pioneer status, agriculture and agro-allied industries, including farming, cattle, ranching, tree cropping, poultry, fisheries, have a 5 to 7 years tax holiday. Also, agricultural loans can be obtained from commercial banks, and they are guaranteed to the extent of 75% in a special scheme called Nigerian Agricultural Credit Guarantee Scheme, and it is being implemented by the Central Bank of Nigeria. Capital allowance, initial capital allowance available for mining is 95%, plants for agriculture is 95%, forest and fisheries is 25%, and capital allowance for other sectors of the economy range between 50% to 90%. The corporate tax in Nigeria is 30% for all sectors of the economy. We have what we call withholding tax, and there is withholding tax on dividends, interest, and the rent is 10% for royalties, 15% for management and technical agreements, 10%. Export incentives. Entrepreneurs are allowed retention of export of proceeds in foreign exchange. Such entrepreneurs who export commodities manufactured in Nigeria are free to open domiciliary accounts with any authorized banks into which 100% of proceeds can be lodged. The Export Expansion Grant Fund provides cash inducement for exporters to enable such exporters increase the volume and value of their export and to diversify their export products and market coverage. The fund is available to exporters who have repatriated in full the proceeds of their export. Part of export incentives to manufacturers, a duty drawback scheme exists to provide for refunds of duties, surcharges on raw materials, including packing and packaging materials used for manufacture of products upon effective exportation of the final products. Nigeria also operates an export processing free zone, and I will not deal on with that. We have an export processing zone in Calabar, and you've heard what the previous speaker said about the export processing free zone. Suffice to say, we are really looking forward to the Lagos one, because Lagos is overdue for an EPZ. Other incentives available in Nigeria for investors include tax deduction on expenditure on research and development, tax concession on labor-intensive mode of production, tax deductibles for expenditure on in-plant training, and utilization of local raw materials, and so on. And now let me just talk briefly on the Nigerian Stock Exchange. You know, we have a Nigerian Stock Exchange in Nigeria, and so many companies have their shares quoted. Now, in the process of development, capital formation plays a central role. Capital formation in any economy is the mobilization of economic surplus, savings internally and externally that can be channeled into productive investment. However, savings that will bring about blossom and meaningful investment in most developing countries, especially Nigeria, is beyond the domestic savings, hence the need to attract foreign investment. World Bank figures show that for a typical African country, investment is only 19% of gross domestic product, GDP, and domestic savings cover only 2/3 of this. As revealed by Professor Dr. Phillips in his comments on elusive international flows, he stated that the Nigerian economy requires about $30 billion annually, consecutively for a period of 5 years to revive, grow reasonably, diversify, meet international obligations, and significantly reduce the perennial heavy import dependence of the production systems. Whereas, the best scenario, the crude oil trade will probably produce only about $10 billion out of this requirement, leaving an annual resource gap of about $20 billion, which normally should be filled mainly through international flows from non-crude oil, international aid, investment, and loans. However, these flows are not coming, at least in the required magnitude. The disadvantaged position of developing countries in the flow of international investment capital was highlighted in a report of the International Finance Corporation, IFC, where it was observed that throughout the developing world, the demand for long-term private capital by far outstrips supply, because a mere dozen nations have cornered more than 75% of the world's private investment, capital flow, and in the process left entire regions of the world vastly underfunded for the development task ahead. In Nigeria, for example, with falling commodity prices, severe balance of payments problem, a large external debt overhang, and declining economic growth, foreign investment has become very crucial to the success of economic reform programs being implemented. In other words, foreign investment appears to be the most crucial component of capital inflows, which Nigeria should seek to attract in the light of our economic circumstances, given the important role such external source of investment can play in the economic development and macroeconomic adjustment of the country. This view is supported by the need to initiate a strong economic recovery after a prolonged period of recession and macroeconomic instability occasioned by past misgovernment. There is a clear and urgent need to stimulate the growth of domestic output, minimize the rate of inflation and unemployment, while the exchange rate currently worsening our naira needs to appreciate substantially to permit meaningful private investment. Foreign investment entails a cross-border acquisition of an asset that may be physical or intangible, as with securities such as shares, stocks, and bonds. It is referred to as direct investment when it is physical, while investment in securities by foreign nationals or institutions in a domestic stock money market is indirect and known as portfolio investment, which are solely for the purpose of dividend, capital gains, or earning interest without involvement in management. Although portfolio investment is becoming significant in a number of the so-called emerging markets, including Nigeria, however, it is required more than its present level. Now, Nigeria needs to develop its financial infrastructure, and this includes the development of banks, the institutions in the money and capital markets, as well as the payment system. And the Nigerian institutions involved comprise the Nigerian Industrial Development Bank, other financial institutions, insurance companies, the Securities and Exchange Commission, the Nigerian Stock Exchange, the Central Bank of Nigeria, and the Nigerian Deposit Insurance Corporation. The efficiency of these institutions is crucial to the inflow of foreign investment as they determine the efficiency of the financial system as a whole. Thanks to all involved in bringing some sanity to this industry, where the lost confidence is gradually being restored. However, there are rooms for improvement. Efforts should be geared further for a better internalization of the money and capital markets, with a view to improving communication links with the rest of the world and mediating the inflow of emerging market funds into Nigeria, especially in this area of globalization. And now I just want to talk about some problems currently troubling Nigeria. I know many of you here are investors and you want to bring your foreign exchange to Nigeria. You must have heard about the 419 scam, corruption in Nigeria, that we lack basic infrastructure. But I just want to tell you that Nigeria is an investor-friendly country. Labor is cheap. We have a population of 126 million, a very good market for your products. And on the 419 scam, the government is really dealing with it right now, as we have some people standing trial in our courts for 419 crimes, for fraudulent crimes. So government is really taking this very serious. On the corruption, the government has passed an anti-corruption law. And again, people are being investigated for corruption. And the government is taking this very, very seriously. Also, the prospects for the development of Nigeria is really very encouraging. And we are inviting Americans, Black Americans, Nigerians in diaspora. We are inviting them to come and invest in Nigeria. I have led a delegation of 12 people of Nigeria from the Nigerian American Chamber of Commerce. And we have visited 6 cities. We visited Chicago, New York, Detroit, Michigan, and now we are here. And we have met with many businessmen and women who are really interested in coming to Nigeria. And so we are telling you that Nigerian people are honest. Many of them are honest. They are not fraudulent. And so we are here from our chamber, and the Lagos State people are here. So you can start your businesses now by talking to us and building a strong relationship so that we can improve both the economy of Nigeria and even that of America. I know America has everything, but you can still improve economically. So we look forward to seeing you in Nigeria. I think I have exceeded my 5 minutes.
Thank you very much. Again, I'm sorry if we're trying to hurry you on the next speakers. It's because of what you said in your concluding remarks that you are here to meet investors, and we want to make sure that you spend the next few hours actually talking to people who are also here to meet you. Before I introduce our next speaker, could I just quickly recognize the presence of the distinguished Chief Dr. Sarumi. Could you please stand up to recognize him? Chief Sarumi was our former Minister for Information and former Minister for Integration and Cooperation in Nigeria. If you were to put a phone call this afternoon to all the African heads of states and ask them to please give me one name that I can talk to here in the United States, they will only give you just one name, and it's going to be the name of Ambassador Young. Ambassador Young, his life is history of its own. But what stands out as extraordinary is his long struggles, compassion, and commitment to the cause of the Black people, and these days, to Africa. A preacher who never misses every opportunity these days to quote from the Bible, and I'm told all old men do that. A former ambassador to the United Nations, but before then, he was in this city the mayor of Atlanta, co-chairman of the Olympics, Olympics Games here in Atlanta. And ladies and gentlemen, if there is one man that we here, and indeed the people of Africa, have to be grateful for his tireless efforts and commitment to trying to energize and wake up Americans to realize that Africa is not all about crisis, Africa is not all about conflicts, Africa is not all about wars, but in his own words, and borrowing from the theme of the recent conference in Nigeria, that Africa is also a continent of possibilities. And as always, Dr. Young is always very happy to speak about Africa, and it's for this reason that I want to invite my good friend, our friend of African presidents, Ambassador Andrew Young.
I want to say in front of all of your colleagues, and particularly His Excellency the Governor, that you have a very good representative here. I received instructions from the former director of our consular corps to say that I should say to the Nigerian government that Consul General Keshi is about to become the dean of the consular corps here in Atlanta. And so of course he's doing a very good job here. Don't take him anywhere else for a while. Now, I'm going to relate that to what I'm supposed to talk about, Your Excellency. But what we represent here is access to a market of $700 billion. $700 billion is the earning power of African Americans. That's comparable to the discretionary income of England or France. We have said that we see Atlanta as the gateway to Africa, and we see Africa as the missing link in the global economy. Your Excellency, you say America has everything, but look at California, look at New York. We are very fortunate here in Atlanta that we have been able to maintain growth and development and balance, but right now the American economy is in very great difficulty. And the only way we are going to grow, and the only way Europe is going to grow, and the only way that Asia is going to get out of the Asian crisis is free market capitalism has to become truly global. And the missing link is the African continent. And Nigeria, we all know, is the center of the African continent. That whatever happens in Nigeria influences all of Africa. I was very proud of your president. I called him to tell him that when there was a coup in Sao Tome and Principe, I said, we call President Bush a cowboy, but he ain't got nothing on you. President Obasanjo got on his own plane and took the president of Sao Tome and flew him back and put him back in his office. We don't allow any more coups in Africa. We're going to have democratic government. And I said, that's a true cowboy. The only thing that he did wrong, and Nigerians always do this wrong, you always talk about the bad things, and when the good things which are happening all over Nigeria happen, the press never picks it up. I saw no mention of that in any U.S. paper. And that should have been blasted all across the world. Nigeria says democracy will prevail in Africa. And the president stands behind it personally. Now, let me tell you a little bit about Atlanta, and I'm not going to be long. When I came here, that airport over there was a temporary building, a Quonset hut, with one runway. That's all. And we were not the biggest city in the South. Birmingham was bigger, Jacksonville was bigger, Greensboro was just about the same size. The cities, we were just a small town. The mayor, Hartsfield, for whom that airport is named, and that too gets to be a controversy, but brought Delta Airlines in and said, look, we want to start a public-private partnership. We will let you have the land around the airport to move your headquarters for $1 a year for 50 years. And Delta came here as a little prop duster airline, like any of the airlines in Nigeria. And now they have 1,000 flights a day from that airport. Delta does. That airport now has 2,500 flights every day to some 231 cities of the world. But what's more important, and I'm not, well, I am bragging. We've had a little something to do with that. But that airport generates more wealth for Atlanta than Nigeria's oil generates for Nigeria. Now, listen, I say that to say that raw materials and natural resources run out. But that airport keeps growing. The mayor, who was not able to be here this morning, is busy with a $5 billion expansion of that airport. And black contractors and engineers and architects and dirt haulers are going to get at least 40% of that $5 billion. And some of them will be Nigerians. Because we will make sure that it's done fairly. When you go to those hot dog stands or the shoe shine stands, or if you look how green it is out here, there's a young black man that's responsible for keeping the airport green and clean. I don't know whether he went to a university, but he sure knows trees, and he sure keeps our grass clean. That everybody generates wealth, and that wealth helps to build houses and to grow an economy that is now attracting people from all over. We're attracting investment now because we have someplace everybody wants to be. It wasn't easy. I remember when I first became mayor, what is now the CNN Center was an empty building. And a taxi driver picked up a group of Japanese investors. And he was going from one hotel to the other, and it was a fare that would have only made him $1.50. He had been sitting in the sun, and he wanted to come to the airport, because that was a $15 fare. And he was so nasty and so grumpy that the investors said, take us to the airport. And instead of buying a $150 million building, they took their money and went somewhere else. But we said, you can't get investment if the governor's office is friendly and the mayor's office is friendly, but if people on the streets are treating you mean. So we started having sessions. In order to be a taxi driver, you had to become an Atlanta ambassador. And they had to know that in this country, they always say, if you want to know something about a country, don't ask the politicians, ask the taxi drivers. So we say, we have to give the taxi drivers a message that we welcome investment. And it was little things like that. When it came time to bring the Olympics, we made sure that everybody coming into this country was greeted in a friendly way by customs. Now, they changed that a little bit since 911. They get very suspicious of people coming from other places. But for the most part, everybody in town understood that investment was not a government responsibility, it was a responsibility for the whole citizenry. And we had to make people feel welcome. And we had to make people feel like we wanted them to be a part of our city. And it's beginning to work. In the 8 years that I was mayor, we attracted $70 billion into this one city. And we grew from just a little over 1 million to almost 4 million. And we're continuing to grow. And now we're worried about growing too fast. We don't want to catch up with Lagos. But the key to our growth, as is maybe the key to Lagos growth, is to grow the rural areas outside, but have good transportation links. Now, how do we do this? I frankly don't think, I'm on the board of Delta Airlines, and I've been trying to get Delta Airlines to fly to Nigeria for 20 years. And even though the business is there, they have a relationship with Air France, and they don't see the direct connection as being, they don't do it. So some Nigerians and some African Americans are going to have to develop a direct airline, because people will go to Africa, but we have plenty of money, but we don't have plenty of time. And by the time we have to go through Europe, whether it's France or England, and get a visa and really be mistreated quite often. To get there, it takes you 2 days to get there and 2 days to get back. So we might have money, but we don't have a lot of time. And so we don't want to waste the vacation time in transit. Now that we have a direct flight every day from here to South Africa to Johannesburg. And it's flying 86% full. If we had direct flights to Nigeria, because I don't know any poor Nigerians here, Governor. They came with good education from your country. They were hard workers. They were in a society that valued their talent. And all of them have done well. And the conditions of a free society allowing an educated people to work hard and do well is what's going to be the assurance of Nigeria's success. The world can succeed unless Nigeria succeeds. And so I welcome you and hope that, and we're not the first ones to do this. India did this. Every time Indira Gandhi came here 20 years ago, she would say to the Indian students, learn what you can, make as much money as you can, but then bring it home. Now, Indian students are bringing it home. And Indian students have created a high technology center around Bangalore, so that when you make a reservation at Delta or American Airlines or anybody else, it's liable to be made in India. And it's liable to be an Indian call service that's handling your reservations and giving you your tickets. They became a part of the global economy. And they even changed their accents. So that if they're calling from Delta, you have somebody in India talking with a southern accent. And so you don't know whether it's coming from Atlanta or Bangalore. But all of that was technology that was learned by Indian students and capital that was returned. And I think we're in the process of doing that now. It starts with tourism. Because people don't invest in countries, they invest in people. And with tourism, you get to know people. And once you get to know people and like people, you come to visit them and they come to visit you. And then maybe the third or fourth time you visit, then you say, we ought to do some business together. And so the friendly relationships, my commitment to Nigeria goes back to Howard University 50-some years ago, when the smartest guy in the school was a Nigerian. And he used to say to me, young man, one day you're going to be disciplined and get civilized, and then you might be somebody. And I said to him, what does it mean to be civilized? He said, a civilized man should be able to walk a mile in any direction and quote poetry and not repeat himself. I said, well, unless I can quote hymns in the Bible, I might not be civilized. But you know him, Emmanuel Latunde Odeko, who was one of the great Nigerian surgeons and medical students, dean of the medical school. And then my friendship with President Obasanjo and Vice President Atiku Abubakar have kept me close to Nigeria most of my life. And Nigeria has been an inspiration to me, and we hope to continue to work with you because we are interdependent. And America will not thrive unless Nigeria grows and survives. Thank you very much.
Mr. Ambassador, I know you'll be leaving very soon, but as always, I can never thank you enough for your very inspiring speech and for your commitment to Nigeria and to Africa. Again, I say thank you very much. Before I bring in our next speaker, may I just make this announcement, and I will repeat it as we go along. For the breakout sessions, we have our rooms already marked out. As you go walk out, you'll see the rooms. Linear B is for housing, construction, and urban development. And I believe the gentleman I introduced earlier from Lagos State Housing Authorities and the rest will be there to receive you. Savannah Waste Management, it's environment is at Savannah A, the room just on the right-hand side as you go out. And the Commissioner for Environment will also be, at hand to receive you. And Savannah B is for healthcare, agriculture, and food processing, while trade, industry, and information technology would be held at Savannah C. So again, I'll repeat this, but maybe sometime soon, if you want to go in there and meet some people, we can understand. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we're very close to our star guest. But I think that the best person who can give a very proper who can make a very proper introduction of the governor, His Excellency Asiwaju Ahmed Bola Tinubu, can be nobody else but someone who's been very close to him, who's been in the ditch, as it were, with him all these long years of trying to work for Lagos and his long struggle for democracy and freedom in Nigeria. And it's my pleasure, ladies and gentlemen, to invite nobody else but the Honorable Commissioner for Information and Strategy to introduce his boss. Honorable Commissioner. Obviously, I'm not going to give you time.
His Excellency, former ambassador to the United Nations, U.S., ambassador and beyond. He's been well introduced, so I don't need to go over his very high profile. But I just want to say that we are very grateful in Nigeria to you for all you have done for our country, spanning over 25 years or more. For all you have done for blacks in diaspora, for all you have done for Georgia State. Because we know from history that what Atlanta is today, what Georgia is today, you had tremendous contributions to this. And you have always been a source of inspiration to us back home in Nigeria. You are very close to our president. Not only that, you have assisted us in so many ways, economically, socially, and politically, to develop progressive ideas. We salute you. Apostle General said. But before I do that, I just want to inform the audience that for so long and for too long, the world has been treated to gory images emanating from Africa, from Nigeria, gory details of famine, wars, pestilence, degradation, instability, political turmoil. Against this background, Nigeria emerged 4.5 years ago, or thereabouts, to shake off this very, very negative image, negative impression. In fact, at a point we felt that the Western media, epitomized by the establishment newspapers, publications in America and Europe, were nothing but nabobs of negativism as regards Africa. But again, we decided to take the bull by the horns and take our destiny in our hands. So we shook off the yoke of militarism. And precisely 4 years and 2 months ago, the people of Lagos decided to take one of those in the vanguard of the forces against dictatorship and the jackboot militocracy. Took one of those who fought assiduously to install democracy in Nigeria and made him the governor of the state because he is a revolutionary, because he possesses the attributes of a true Democrat. Now here is a man who was trained in America, exposed to all the technologies of the advanced world, who was exposed to ways and means of making things happen, who is a doer and a thinker, and who went back home to work and joined forces with the corporate organization, precisely Mobile Corporation, was the treasurer. But because of the forces of militarism and the very, very degrading effects of dictatorship in Nigeria, took the plunge into politics. And no sooner he did than the freest and fairest elections in Nigeria, the June 12 elections, were annulled again by militocrats. And this man decided to join forces with like-minded people, began to fight the annulment, intensified the struggle to de-annul the June 12 elections. In the process, he was harassed, he was oppressed, he was hounded, his home was burnt, he was jailed. At a point when he was declared wanted, dead or alive, he spirited himself out of the country, landed in England, the UK, and continued the struggle with others. I was one of the leg operatives during the period. So I had a first-hand knowledge of the kind of problems that we confronted in trying to intensify the struggle against dictatorship in Nigeria. This man spent all he had. He gave all himself without any thought for family, for relations, for resources. He gave all. And believe me, ladies and gentlemen, at the end of it, he was recognized as one of those who took part in the titanic struggle to get Nigeria to where Nigeria is today. He came back home in 1999 and was elected the governor of Lagos State. This man, from his humble beginnings, waded through the vagaries of the weather, plowed through the vicissitudes of life, emerged at the apex of his professional career, and attained the pinnacle of political power in Lagos. I'm talking about Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the governor of Lagos State, the Asiwaju of Lagos, and recently has been tagged the last man standing after the last general elections. He is the last man standing because he's the only AD governor we have in Nigeria today Before the April elections, we had 6 AD governors, 7 actually, because we got one in the Northeast. And all of these, 6 out of the 7 could not withstand the might of the federal government, of the PDP-controlled federal government, amassing all the arsenals at its disposal. And he said, never will Nigeria become a one-party state. And it became the last man standing till today. Ladies and gentlemen, this has led to present to you Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Dele. You can keep your job. Your Excellency, our dear brother, uncle, friend, who had been sadly introduced earlier on, a man who had fought for Africa all his life, Ambassador Babawale Adeyo. Our dear Consul General, who have worked tirelessly to make today possible, and there's several occasions, a truly patriotic Nigerian, a diplomat of distinction. Thank you for a good job you have been doing. We will fight not to only to leave you in Atlanta. I think we should move you to Washington, D.C. Distinguished member of the cabinet, our sister, the outgoing president of the Nigerian American Chamber of Commerce, members of Lagos State Executive Council, the Speaker, the Deputy Speaker of the House of Assembly, member of the Senate, distinguished member of the Senate here, House of Representative members of National Assembly and members of the Lagos State House of Assembly here present, and members of the investing community, the Georgia, our brother and our sister state, our sister city, Atlanta. Thank you for being here this morning. And also, Mrs. Kesh, our own, in Lagosha. We enjoyed the dinner yesterday. I still deserve one. Chief Daposari, you are welcome, and I'm happy that you are today. We have seen clearly from the first presentation on the EPZ, American will say EPZ, and British time is EPZ, Export Processing Zone. You've seen the opportunity that's there for investors. Let me quickly go back to that and tell you that among the potential investors, we signed 3 contracts already. Methanol gas is a reality for that zone. A consortium of Singaporean investors specializing in converting our gas being flared today to methanol are signed up and ready to invest over $1 billion US. Equally, a consortium of investors are signed up. They are finalizing their drilling and planning on deep water, deep sea pool that will be independent of whatever we already have in Nigeria. That is another great opportunity. Therefore, the EP said having a petrochemical launchpad section would be a launchpad to the economic recovery of Lagos State and the West Africa sub-region, I can assure you. I've listened. Yeah. I'm supposed to be the chief salesperson for Lagos State and Nigeria. You know, without any other data thrown at you, because I want you to start the section quickly, that the economy of Nigeria depends actually on Lagos. The image of Nigeria depends on Lagos. The politics and the assurance of political and economic stability of Nigeria and West Africa still depends on Lagos. I was late getting here this morning because the president was in the border yesterday talking to Benin Republic about the closure of the border. And the president of Benin Republic was sneezing and almost fainting because the economy of Nigeria from Lagos feeds to the entire West Africa, up to Ghana. And Lagos is the channel for everything going through that. So we are strategically placed. Population of over 15 million with 8% growth rate for a state that will become the third largest mega city in the next, by year 2015. This is a study between us and United Nations and the World Bank. It is true. The challenge is there for us today. But we've faced that squarely since the last 20 years. The problem of investors had always been lack of openness. We are truly open now. We've reformed our judicial system. I can stand before you, brag confidently, and tell you that in our judiciary, from Lagos State, corruption is being eliminated. Well, if you're an investor, you want to investigate whether you can easily come in and out. And luckily, one of the revolutionary women here present is in charge of the arbitration, Mrs. Krista Quinn. Our judges are the highest paid in Nigeria today, so that's an incentive that eliminates corruption in the judicial system. They are owning their own houses. We've built several modern new courts, fully equipped, computerized, and we are moving on. So that is an assurance for you that you will meet a well-prepared judicial system to do business, even if you are not within the export processing zone. The other part of image is the stability of the country. Is there political stability? Yes. We've started, over the years, a roller coaster situation. We set up ourselves military to come back if because of violent rejection of election results. Then we've learned our lesson. Because you never win the battle even after a violent reaction, and the military comes back, he favors none of you, he take over, loot the treasury, make it worse than it before. Why not keep the devil you know? And don't bring the most dangerous devil who can kill you along the line. So we learn a lesson. When we saw the turbulence that might be coming with the President Olusegun Obasanjo's second term, who decided the Alliance for Democracy made a sacrifice for him. Presented no presidential candidates so that we can have continuity. Okay, we went through with the storm and I'm the last man standing. But what did I tell my colleagues who lost the election? If we fight, or you think you shout rigging again, and the military come back, we lose it all. And we know this guy, he means well, and he's trying. Let's support him. And we have achieved that. The stability, the political stability, is there in the country as a result of our sacrifice. Now, what else you want to know? Security is a priority. We are working hand in hand with the police and the military. Peacekeepers, a section that you describe here as a national guard, to enhance while we are equipping gradually. Because during the military times, period, the entire system was decimated. You have disintegrated infrastructure and communication in the system. And the fear was, because of the nature of reporting from Nigeria, what was happening even in South Africa, in Johannesburg, and a whole lot of that section of the world, or even New York, in Chicago, where I achieved my academic and professional development, the violence there was even worse than that of Lagos. But the way the news is carried is the problem for the image of the country. And yes, we have already taken that very seriously. No body bag of any investors. Mobu is there. Chevron is there. Texaco is there. Citibank is there. Standard Trust Bank is there. USC is back. Total is there. F is there. So many other ones. None of these companies that survived assassination, attack, or their body bag coming back home as a result of insecurity in the country. So you are secure. The alarm being raised by the paranoia of September 11. Fine, it's real. But Nigeria is not part of that epidemic of religious crisis. You are, as investors, come to Nigeria and come to Lagos. Lagos State, Nigeria is a secular nation. They will remain secular. There have been no religious intolerance in that country. Whatever you saw on CNN and the past was just a few tiny states that are emotionally using a system to divide their constituency, their local constituency. It's a political rivalry between two groups. And we'll just look at religion as a potent weapon to secure its positions a declared Sharia in the state. The legal system is behind that, they segregated it, and then the other side reacted. But that impacts the middle part of the country. Lagos State is safe. I am a Muslim. I'm married to a Christian. And that's the way it is in Lagos. That's the way it is in Nigeria. That's the way it is in the south of Nigeria. So whatever one little tiny case, because you see, out of the jungle of non-reporting activities, they take a tiny news, overblown it beyond. No one has been stoned. No one has been persecuted wrongly. The Supreme Court is ready. There's no religious crisis that can threaten your business in the country. And Lagos is a secular state. There will be no talk of Sharia. I've resisted that and I've stopped that. They are dead in the boundary of any other state. For your information, in the State House, there's a mosque that I met there, but I built a chapel for the Christian. So for a Muslim boy to build a chapel for the Christian to worship, we see the level of religious tolerance. So don't watch CNN. Watch our own. But yesterday, they've changed their tune. They are ready to listen in a manner that will promote Nigeria much, much better. That's the nature of the news. With all other positive events happening around America, they concentrated on the black lighthouse in New York. Okay. If you want to show, go show because probably we won't bother. We've had, what are you looking for again as potential investor? Stability, prosperity, and opportunity. But we cannot do it alone. What are the areas? We have mass transit projects where we need collaboration with the investors from the United States of America. The track, the mass transits. I went through that of the Atalanta. The matter is exceedingly running very well. We are ready to collaborate with investors here. Design, build, and operate. We have that opportunity. In the area of infrastructural development, we have the opportunity for you to do build, operate, and transfer on roads and bridges, where you can establish and put toll activities on those roads, build, operate, and transfer system. We have the opportunity of setting up, and partnering with you, setting up any type of manufacturing of concern. We are brought, regardless of what people in the accounting industry might say of Aaron Clash. I stand here before you, very, very proud of what we did. We look at electricity as the most important discovery of the last 1,000 years. We could see the importance of it yesterday. We know Nigeria had that problem. We started a revolution from Lagos State that we are going to definitely break the monopoly of NEPA. We brought Aaron through 4 young black African Americans. We started the revolution. The Aaron project is a reality, producing 270 megawatts of electricity, the most reliable, the most consistent, the most reliable and dependable source to manufacturing sections in the country. And the section of it, to bring 1,000 megawatts, it will become a reality. It's the direct foreign investment of over 243 million US dollars. So that is there. Telecommunication is a reality in the country today. The GSM is operating very well. Easy in, easy out with your money. The real estate development is there. Mortgage system is there. Financial institution is there for you to invest in. And partnering to do that is a government that's ready to be a catalyst. We are ready to chip in where it's necessary. Ready to give you the land that might be needed or required. They're ready to give you the assistance to process all your documentations. Either you want to belong to the export-free zone, trade-free zone, or you want to be in the regular area. Waste-to-wealth program, the water project, the water expansion program, all of this are the real opportunity. Now I tell you one thing again. We wanted to test the market. Lagos State floated is only 7-year bond of 15 billion to enhance our infrastructural development. See what yield it will bring. We floated that one. Forgotten Security and Exchange Commission's approval at 22%. And we take the revolution to the federal government, federal cabinet, that such an investment, return on it should be tax-free. They thought we were joking. And we proved the calculus of it. I tell you, we've won again. It's been granted. And that makes the yield 30% annually. 30%. Asia Tiger is no longer running. Why do you think you take your money? Europe is down. America is down. Need reactivation and expansion. Where else can you find such a return when you have a 30-year bond or 20-year T-note, total yield of 4.5% here? 30 years bond, total yield of 5 maximum. Where else can you find up to 20% yield return on your investment? Except Lagos. No other place. No other place in the rest of the world today. We've conducted that study. I brought in other companies. We brought in Oracle there in Nigeria now through the agents investing in our economy. In fact, the Lagos State system is fully computerized, and we are going through the second phase. By the time we complete that, Lagos State will be matching any other nation in the 21st century information technology. What I want to leave, and I want to congratulate the President and the members of the Club for making this opportunity possible. And you are trying to invest back home. I encourage investment back home. As you have the opportunity to talk to Americans, just remember to tell them, and I'm saying so here today, it's a great opportunity and privilege to talk to you. When with a disintegrated infrastructure, complete collapse of the economy. A Marshall Plan was put together by the West to resuscitate and rehabilitate and reconstruct the European infrastructure and the economy. Ever since, they've never looked back. The same thing in Japan, Nagasaki. They put money behind the infrastructure and rehabilitation of Japanese economy. Ever since then, they've never looked back. Recent experience is the Mexico, given a strong budgetary support to revamp its economy. Mexico was able to recover and pay back the debt. Why should America and the rest of Europe continue to squeeze Nigeria in a manner that it might not recover? That must change. Wrong classification, wrong interpretation, and wrong projection of the country will not work, because you cannot achieve true globalization of this economy and the right return on it unless a raft is given to a sinking ship. Partnership is not a one-way thing, it's a two-way affair. We have our oil, we have the opportunity, we just need a rescheduling of burden of loans. We are not going to treat it like they treated it in Russia with what happened. America preached free economy, free market economy to Russia, and take a huge amount of money through IMF to Soviet Union. They saw the money, said, free market economy, they thought it's free money. They expended it, squandered money. America didn't crucify them because of the mere threat that they likely could be selling weapons into wrong hand. They took another bunch of money, double that, and take it to Russia, and Russia is recovering today. So why should Africa be persecuted only and given the wrong little pill and wrong prescription that is not fitting to his culture? Those many of you here, you have to persuade investing community here that we can do a tailor-made arrangement that will fit into our culture, that will give them the reciprocity of good return on their investment, and free movement and free outflow of those invested funds. We assure you, we will protect you. The image we want to bring is the image of stability, peace, progress, and economic opportunity that will bring prosperity both ways in our partnership. Thank you very much for listening. Eco Club. I'll be doing more of the recognition later tonight. I have a statement of Steve Worship. I want to say thank you again. Shakira and the rest of you, Daudu, majority of my even personal friend who flew in from Chicago, and my brother Daudu and a whole lot of you, Avaz and many of you that are here doing this for the country. I'm very, very proud of you. We do more of this tonight. We first and foremost pay attention to this business. As already mentioned to you by His Excellency, the distinguished Consul General, what could be a problem in the acquisition of land? Yes, the Executive Secretary in charge of land, is here. Partnering, that's Wenga Shakra, that's the land pen. On the partnering of development and housing, you have John Beat, and the economy and the prosperity, opportunities, and further discussion, you are our headmaster, the economic planning and budget of Olayemi Kadoso. And further, on the waste to wealth, mass transit, and other projects, you have Toji Bello, and you have Dele Alake for overall information management and economic prosperity that Lagos State can offer. It is a great honor. Thank you very, very much for listening.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. At this juncture, let me recognize and thank you all for your patience so far. In less than 5 to 10 minutes, we'll be out of this place. We'll break out into the sessions. But before we do that, I invite our last speaker and guest speaker for this afternoon, this morning. Might just take a few minutes to also recognize my colleagues at the consulate. They've been very supportive, they've been very wonderful, and they've also worked hard here in Atlanta and elsewhere to ensure that we have a very successful meeting here today. Mr. Boniface Amose, please could you stand to be recognized? Mr. Adesri, Mr. Songa, please. Mr. Namedu. Again, these are the three that make up the staff of the consulate. Thank you. And praise the whole club, but I also want to recognize the Atlanta President Chapter, Mr. Marshall. Mr. Marshall, are you here? Okay, Mr. Marshall is not here. There's a delegation from the Nigerian Foundation. Again, we want to recognize them and thank them for coming. And as I said, we'll break out in a few minutes, but before then, let me introduce to you all, I think it's only right to also call this gentleman our Dean, the Dean of the Nigerian community here in Atlanta. He's been here for so many years. He's a professor, and I'm told, and I hear this quite often, and I think it's right too, he's the first black professor in Georgia Tech, and it's nobody else but our own Professor, let me try this again. Professor Chief. Chief Professor Augustine Usogbe. He is the Ozo Okiru, one of Imuzo. Professor at Georgia Tech, but above all, he's here in his capacity as the chairman of the Lagos Atlanta Sister City Commission. He's going to do the vote of thanks and say in a very brief words about the commission that he has. And I'll plead there with the professor. You know what professors are like? I'll plead there with the professor for nothing less than 5 minutes.
Thank you, my distinguished Consul General, and also for allowing me nothing less than 5 minutes. Your Excellency, the Asiwaju, Governor Bola Tinubu, members of the Lagos State Government Cabinet, the leader slowly as I would have through my presentation. What I would like to do is to first take the indulgence of the governor and read a letter that we had actually sent to him on the occasion of his winning the elections to become the governor-elect of Lagos State. I don't think he actually got it, but this would be serve as a basis for really articulating what I will have to say today in a rather succinct manner. But before I do that, I want to on behalf of Mayor Shirley Franklin, who was not able to join us here today, his Director of Governmental Relations and International Affairs, Ms. Claire Makuben, was here earlier to deliver some greetings on behalf of the City of Atlanta, but had previous commitments that had to leave. So I want to apologize on behalf of the Mayor's office for their absence today, but to bring the goodwill and greetings to you. Welcome. I represent a group called the Lagos Atlanta Sister Cities Committee, a non-profit organization, a member of the Atlanta Sister Cities Commission, a member of the African Sister Cities Association, and an affiliate of the Sister Cities International. For quite a while, we have been a voice of Nigeria, not only at City Hall, but throughout the state of Georgia. We are here today not only to promote Lagos, but to ask our friends to invest in Lagos, and by so doing, invest in Nigeria, Africa, and the Black race. But all of us who know about investment realize that you have to have the fertile ground. You have to put the manure and fertilizers first in place before much of that can take place. There have been countless economic missions led by different groups. I was involved with the first mission for the Nigerian American Chamber of Commerce, and there were several ones led by the president and his economic team, and not much has really come out of that. We hope that this one will be the beginning of a new era when people now can hearken to our call. Please, Your Excellency, the letter I wrote on behalf of the board members of the Lagos Atlanta Sister Cities Committee, it's my distinct privilege and pleasure to extend our hearty greetings and congratulations for their victories at the polls during the recent gubernatorial elections in Nigeria. It's indeed our hope and prayer that God Almighty, the giver of life, will shower you with the wisdom and intestinal fortitude which will ensure a successful beginning for an administration that is able to respond positively to the tremendous challenges and opportunities that lie ahead. The Lagos Atlanta Sister Cities Committee, one of the oldest members of the 16 cities relationships that make up the Atlanta Sister Cities Commission, is part of the Sister Cities International, whose primary mission is the promotion of better international relations and understanding between U.S. cities and other cities of the world through people-to-people programs that revolve around the axis of social, educational, economic, trade, and technological exchanges. Through this organization, a framework for the world network of sister cities can be developed. The implication for Lagos and ipso facto Nigeria can be monumental. It transcends governmental constraints and operatives, and as such can be a potent force for various countries involved in the relationship. For Lagos and indeed Nigeria, the committee has functioned since 1975 to help create the first official Consulate General of Nigeria in the US under a civilian rule. And I'd like to add that this event, as fantastic and successful as it is, would not have been made possible without the location of the Consulate General in our city and in our state. Now, it has, for example, on a volunteer basis, performed such duties as hosting various trade and cultural missions, providing homestays for visiting Nigerian professionals, creating educational opportunities for Nigerians in Atlanta area schools and universities, facilitating various linkages, both economic and professional, between the two countries, but of course using Lagos, our twin sister city, as a vehicle for such activities, helping to debunk and deflate persistent negative press on Nigeria, especially during the height of the subliminal international Cold War on Nigeria, and the list goes on. The committee's current programs include book drafts for Nigeria's practically non-existent high school libraries, technology and resource transfer, beginning with computer collection and delivery for computer staff Nigerian universities, as well as public agencies, and a massive campaign to re-educate the Atlanta and Georgia public on Nigeria and in turn prepare them for increased tourism opportunities in Nigeria. Once again, the focus of the foregoing activities is Lagos, our twin city. Perhaps the most significant and imminent of the committee's projects is the Atlanta Airport project, designed to expose the millions of international passengers that pass through Hartsfield International Airport corridors, the busiest airport in the U.S., to the history, cultures, and economic panorama of Atlanta's twin cities. The committee is earnestly planning to showcase Lagos and Nigeria during the months of August, September, and October. The plan is to utilize this golden opportunity to make the most positive impact on the viewing public and contribute to the much-needed transformation of Nigeria's badly tarnished image as a country that is once again on the move, and a country worthy as well as desirous of foreign investments as we move into the 21st century. We welcome whatever inputs and showcase materials that you may be able to provide so that this project is truly reflective of the image and plan that you have for Lagos under your administration. All of the foregoing is made possible by the special composition of the committee. The members are respected professionals, both Nigerian and American, residing in the greater Atlanta area with training and expertise that range the gamut, from physicians and healthcare professionals, including board chairmen, to business developers and entrepreneurs, technologists and engineering executives, university professors, city administrators, and political operatives, retired school principals and managers, insurance business owners, and international academic artists and curators. The principal bond between all of us is genuine interest, abiding love, and unquestionable dedication to the promotion of the well-being of Nigeria. We have done all of the above for a protracted length of time, in peace or war, in days of glory and gloom, and without pay, remuneration, or favor. We extend our heartiest invitation to you and the members of your administration to visit Atlanta and our mayor, the Honorable Bill Campbell, as well as our committee. If what we learned from the 1996 Olympics is a guide, we can safely say that all roads to success pass through Atlanta. Many of us are equally anxious to join in your inauguration ceremonies and explore more deeply the opportunities for making this relationship mutually beneficial. We congratulate you and pledge our support of your efforts to transform Lagos as well as Nigeria into truly democratic governance, characterized by equity of access, high-level quality of service delivery, and a government dedicated to fairness, accountability, and probity. We believe that through the revitalization of cultural, educational and economic and trade activities, Lagos and its metropolis will see a resurgence of socio-economic boom and well-being for all of its citizens. We hope that you will call on us to aid your team to the extent possible as you move Lagos from its present socio-economic doldrums to once again a boom city as we face the dawn of the next millennium. We respect and pray for God's protection and guidance, sincerely, Professor Espo. Now, I want to read some of the members here. Members of our committee, Mr. Lado Bulade, I saw him earlier, who was our principal advisor, Dr. Lori Mone, Dr. Femi Ajayi, Dr. Cassandra Wanzo, Antonio Barita Hansen, Mr. Ed Spriggs, Dr. Merrill McNeil, Mr. Chika Johnson, Mrs. Marie Brown, Mrs. Sheila Brown, Mr. Adoye Tinubu, I think Dr. Hughes here, Tinubu, Dr. Michael Alberta, Mrs. Amy Turner, Mrs. Eugenia George, and Mrs. Angela Kessler. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, Your Excellency, the Governor, I want to end here. I have a list of projects and things that we'd like to do, commit to do. They say it takes a village to raise a child. There is no one way to help Lagos attain its dreams. It requires a multifaceted approach, and we'd like to explore partnerships with various groups, particularly the Go Club. We've already involved one of the members as a member of our committee. We'd like to do our part and use our leverage with City Hall and various network of programs and sister cities all over the world. It's an interconnected network, and that's one of the advantages of this organization. And we'd like to do what we can to help move their dreams forward. Thank you so much.
I thank the distinguished professor. I know what it is like to give a professor 5 minutes. And I'm grateful Your Excellencies, Honorable Commissioners, members of the Lagos State House of Assembly, President here, Mrs. Kuye, I recognize Lady, I think, has just joined us, and I'm sorry if I'm just seeing you for the first time. Gloria Tinubu, you all know her very well. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, in particular, all those who come from out of states, out of the city of Atlanta. Again, I say welcome. Thank you very much for being with us here this morning. We're very happy that you responded positively to our invitation for this morning's session. But the morning is not over yet. We're just going to break and then go quickly into the sessions. And I want to plead, in particular with members of the Eco Club. This is business time, and let's not waste this time. We're going to take the governor to his own room. The governor is going to be with you members of the Eco Club in the evening, so please allow him the free passageway to his own room where he's going to see some people. And anybody who wants to break into one of the sessions, please look at the doors. You know, the papers are there so that you know the meeting you want to get involved with. Again, it's been lovely, wonderful having you people here this morning, and I thank you all very much, and the session is going to end. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, just a second. Just 1 second, one last announcement, please.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, this is just to remind you that we're having a banquet dinner for His Excellency tonight, and it's going to be at one of the ballrooms, and there are some tickets out there to those that are willing to participate in the economic session. Please, on your way out, get some tickets, and let's have a good time tonight. The banquet dinner is going to start at 8 p.m. Please go out there and get your ticket. Thank you very much.